Are you at risk of severe weather, flash flooding, or Canadian wildfire smoke? If so, Cold Rain's Weather Channel might be the solution for you, but ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough to watch Cold Rain's weather forecast because it is the most fun-filled, action-packed weather event on the internet. And action we have today, folks, action in the form of severe weather, including strong tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. We are in the middle of a multi-day severe weather outbreak, and we're going to get into those details here in just a minute, along with taking a look at who is most at risk of flash flooding and Canadian wildfire smoke. We'll have you prepared for your weekend by taking a look at the weekend forecast, and we'll take a peek around the corner and see what mid-June might have in store for us. Plus, we'll just make sure that there's no more solar events coming at us. Maybe there is. We'll take a look and see if there's any good aurora viewing on the horizon as well as we take a look at our solar and geological update. We'll wrap the show up with that. I'll have all of these segments in the description broken out so that you can flip right to where you want to go. I'm going to start the show today in a little bit of an unusual way by sending a message to Mitch West, who has another channel on the internet here on YouTube that discusses weather. He does a daily weather show, and at the end of some of his shows, he has a Bible devotion. And he had one such devotion today. I watched the show. It was a good show. This will only take 2 minutes, folks. I think if you want to skip ahead, feel free to do that, but stick around. I think you'll be blessed by the end of this. But wanted to just comment on what Mitch was talking about today. His devotion centered around a scripture from Galatians that essentially says everything that we do should be done for the glory of the Lord and not for the glory of man, meaning that when we do something, we should not do it to edify ourselves. If we do a weather channel, we shouldn't do it just to see how many subscribers we can get. If we sing in church, we shouldn't do it just to see how many people can hear us sing, those kinds of things. If we do what we do for the Lord's glory, the Lord will bless us according to his will. That was the point of Mitch's commentary this morning, and it's very, very good. And there's really 3 takeaways from that. Number one, we all have talents, skills, gifts, and passions that the Lord has given us, and we need to identify those, and he's given us opportunities and will give us opportunities to use those. That's number one. Number two, if we do those and execute and use those talents for his glory with him in mind, he'll bless us in ways that we don't even know about. Maybe it's making the channel grow to 1 million subscribers, or maybe it's only 762, or maybe it's something else completely different, or something that we haven't even, something we would never think of in order that we would choose to bless ourselves with. The bottom line is the Lord will bless us in the right ways and bless the individuals that we engage with as well through those efforts. And so keeping the right thing in mind will help us that. Number 3, all of this sort of leads to being content at where we are in life and with what we have. I talk about this a lot, where we really need to sometimes just kind of unwind, unpack, and just sit and watch be thankful for what we have for a minute. Take a minute to be thankful. Take a minute to walk outside and hear the birds chirping and see the world that's out there. There's a lot of beauty in it. And just find some contentment in life and in what we have. And if we do those things, then the Lord will bless us. And the way it will happen is it will be happening exactly the way the Lord has designed. And so that is what I wanted to say in response to Mitch's commentary. It was very good commentary. We should be content, be thankful, walk in faith, and use what the Lord has given us for his glory. And everyone will be blessed. That's part of that, in ways that we don't even know about, but it will be exactly right. Mitch has done a great job with his channel. He doesn't need to fret. You don't need to fret, sir, about anything in terms of growth. You've done great, and it will continue to grow. The Lord will bless you, and he'll never see this message because he's got a lot of things going on, and I'm just a little channel, so it's not going to go viral and show up on his radar. But I wanted to say that and hopefully encourage you all and thank him for that good word this morning. Now, let's get into the weather because there is a lot of weather out there to talk about. We're going to start here with the satellite imagery. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Just note that there's some thunderstorm activity breaking out over the Texas Panhandle where we have a severe weather threat today. Lots and lots and lots of clouds covering much of the United States today, with cumulus clouds, high level cirrus clouds, clouds associated with a little spin of quasi-tropical weather here over the southeastern portion of the country. It's not going to be a named storm or anything like that, but we'll bring some rain along the coast, some thunderstorm activity here, some upper level energy making its way into the Four Corners region, pushing into Texas will be responsible for severe weather out there. But lots of clouds out here, folks. Looking at high temperatures today, most of the warmth is centered on the East Coast, east of the Ohio Valley, down through the southeast and into the lower portion of the country, where we find 90s, even hundreds along the southern border here. But the exception here in North Carolina, where it's very, very cloudy, rainy today, we're finding temperatures in the 70s. But everybody else north of the areas I just mentioned are going to be in the 60s and 70s, mostly 70s until you get out here into the Rockies, 80s kind of working in here into the Pacific as well. So Pacific coast. Looking at the surface map, this is kind of what everybody's familiar with. And we see these couple of features I want to point out. This big boundary all the way through New England. It's a cold front that extends all the way back in here into the southern plains. Little wave of low pressure here in Colorado, kind of a low pressure zone and a dry line working in here into New Mexico. Severe weather threat out ahead of this, all the way from just east of El Paso up through Abilene and places like that, getting into Oklahoma City, all the way up near Pueblo, Colorado. And so any of these areas in this green hatched area could see some shower and thunderstorm activity today. Certainly will not be a washout. A lot of this is going to be widely scattered. And then we've got another risk of severe weather up from Scranton into Pittsburgh and just near Rochester, just to the southeast there. So that's where we're looking at our severe weather concerns. But this is the surface map. It shows you these features, and we see rain chances for a good portion of the country. Now, as we take a look at our instability, when we look at severe weather threats, kind of two primary ingredients that we want to see if we want to talk about a big severe weather threat are instability and just thunderstorm fuel. That's what that is. And then something to lift the atmosphere. We have to get air parcels going up if we want to see thunderstorms going up. And so a way to do that's a boundary at the surface. Could be outflow from yesterday's thunderstorm activity, or it could be a cold front like we saw, or it could also be upper level support. Upper level systems move in and they evacuate air up here. Air rushes in underneath to replace it. And that's how it all works. And so we've got quite a bit of all of that coming together to create a severe weather event over the next couple of days in portions of the country. If we look at our instability, the higher values show up here in greens, oranges, reds, and purples. Don't really see a ton of purple, but look at this through Texas and the panhandle of Oklahoma, through Texas and Arkansas. As we get on into the evening hours today, even some instability up here in some of the areas I was looking at. If we roll this back, you can actually see that a little bit, see how it kind of builds up through there into Pennsylvania and New York. And then as we go on into the morning hours, you see a lot of times instability decreases rapidly overnight, but we're not really seeing that out here in the plains. And that is important because that's going to create an environment for shower and thunderstorm complexes to maintain through the evening hours, move east, and impact areas farther east as we go through the next few days. And watch this as we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. You see that back off a little bit, but it doesn't completely go away. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're seeing instability, a little pocket of it build up here in the northeast New England area around Springfield and Boston, and then stretching back into the Ohio Valley through the Tennessee Valley, really into Texas again as well. Look at that. It just explodes through central Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, into the Tennessee Valley, upper southeast. Plenty of instability as we go on into the day tomorrow afternoon, into tomorrow evening. It still exists and dies a little bit, but comes back again Saturday in those kind of same areas down toward the south, even get a little bit working into the upper plains here ahead of another system. And so all of this instability is going to be important to help create and maintain shower and thunderstorm activity. Now, from a severe weather standpoint, what type of severe weather are we looking at? What's driving it upstairs? Do we have anything to lift the atmosphere? Well, let's take a look. We'll go through this afternoon. Look at this little pocket of energy here in the upper atmosphere, the mid-levels anyway, working into New Mexico and a Texas panhandle, Oklahoma panhandle there into Kansas. And so we certainly see a little bit of upper level support. We've already got a low level convergence zone. So all systems go for severe weather, it looks like back here in these areas. And then if we look up into New England, got a little bit of wind energy impinging into the Pennsylvania, New York areas as well, up through New England. So we could see some scattered to isolated severe thunderstorms up there as well. We go on into Friday morning, getting in here into Friday AM. That system continues to persist down here in the southern plains, a little bit more jet energy. So the flow is kind of west to east. You can see that on the streamlines here. I haven't drawn that yet, so I'll just draw it in here. These kind of height lines, you see these, how they kind of run west to east. This is where the energy is going. And so when we get these pockets of west to east energy, then we can see that overlap the instability and help to create lift and thunderstorms. And that's what we're seeing as we go through Friday afternoon into the evening hours, get a little bit of an external or an extra punch to this little jet streak here. Got a couple of more jet streaks moving into the northeast, and that will continue to persist. And also in the evening hours, we get the night jet, the nocturnal jet sort of ramping up. That's just, we'll get into why that exists later on, but sometimes you see that, and that will help to spin the atmosphere, particularly today, so we could see some strong thunderstorms in Texas, and we'll take a look at that. But that jet continues to push east over Saturday into Sunday. We get on into Saturday afternoon and evening. Look at this. Now we've got kind of strong winds all the way over the Tennessee Valley through the upper southeast into the Ohio Valley a little bit. And as we get on into Sunday afternoon, look at this, little wind here, and then another big trough coming in out of Canada. That's going to bring strong winds around that. A little cooler air, a little more stable up here, so we're not going to see a big thunderstorm outbreak with this, but could see some rain showers around that. So that's what we're looking at as we go on into the weekend from a severe thunderstorm potential standpoint. The SPC has outlined an area this afternoon of enhanced risk here in the Oklahoma Panhandle, around Woodward and places like that up here into, let's put the cities on so we can see what we're talking about. Liberal, Garden City, Woodward, down toward Lubbock, Midland, and Fort Stockton as well. Up here also we have a slight risk around just southeast, as I said, of Rochester into Birmingham and over towards Scranton and Binghamton. I don't know why I said Birmingham. It looks like Birmingham to me, but it's not. It's Binghamton and Pittsburgh. So that's what we're looking at from a probability standpoint. Tornadoes, hatched risk for 10% down here in the Oklahoma or the Texas Panhandle, where we could see some significant tornadoes. Actually, supercells are going to develop, going to spin the atmosphere. Already got spin in the atmosphere. It's going to make use of that, and actually we could see quite a couple, well, at least a couple of quite strong tornadoes come out of this 5% area where the enhanced risk generally is, 2% around that. Wind is a pretty good sized threat as well. Significant wind damage with clusters forming into a line segment sweeping through Kansas and Oklahoma later in the evening hours. We could see some significant wind, maybe 70, 80, up to 90 mile per hour wind gusts. So we've got a large area there, and also down here in Texas again, just south of the Panhandle here. So that's what we're looking at from a severe weather threat today. 15% wind up in the Pennsylvania, New York area, and then hail, again, a large area of real estate out here in West Texas, up in Oklahoma and Kansas. Parts of southwest Kansas could see softball size hail, folks. So pay attention to weather alerts today. It's going to be an active day out here. Tomorrow, we're looking at a large area of real estate with a slight risk extending in some of those same areas that we saw today, all the way through Oklahoma, almost all of Arkansas into all of Tennessee, most of Kentucky, and the upper portions of the southeast, and then another little slight risk where we saw that instability max up near Boston and Springfield. So big area of marginal risk surrounds that, where we could see a little bit more isolated severe weather, wind reports, hail, kind of the primary threat in those areas. But the slight risk tomorrow could carry a 2% tornado risk. Would not surprise me to see some of these as the mesoscale features become a little bit better defined. We could see some parts of this highlighted for an upgrade in terms of tornadoes and just the risk assessment overall. Those things kind of in the summertime, a lot of times where we don't have a big system working in, sometimes those things need to be defined as we get through one period into the next period. So pay attention out here, maybe see some upgrades tomorrow. Wind and hail, also again, big hail back here in Texas, possible baseball, softball size, even with some of these vigorous updrafts that are going to naturally occur with the instability that we've got. And then as we get on into Saturday, southern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, all of Arkansas, much of Kentucky, the southern part of Kentucky at least, Tennessee, into the western half of North Carolina, all the way down here toward really Charleston, South Carolina, into the southern part of Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi. That would include like Jackson, Huntsville, Birmingham, places like that, Little Rock and Texarkana, near Shreveport. So anybody in these areas, pay attention as we get on into Saturday. Got a couple of days to prepare for that, but note that we could have several rounds of severe weather, and it's going to take shape in different forms. So we're going to see supercells today, maybe tomorrow, but then really the mode is going to be clustering, storm clustering, and line segments. Clusters can get together, kind of organize a little bit and create a broader wind threat. Line segments, as they move through, can organize outflow, and you could get strong, long wind swaths as we go through. And so that's what we're going to see happen over the next couple of days. The models are not going to be able to pinpoint exactly when or where, but just keep your eyes to the sky, pay attention to alerts. National Weather Service will keep you alerted as things happen. If we take a look at the future radar here, it's kind of what this shows. If we look at this afternoon, so let's scroll it back, Thursday afternoon, we're looking at supercells developing in areas here in West Texas coming off the high terrain. We'll see that the model doesn't show that up all that good, but you can, or all that well, but you'll see supercells develop out here in the panhandles, and then we'll see an organization of that over time. See how that starts to organize up here in the panhandle of Oklahoma and sweep through Oklahoma with a wind threat later tonight. Maintenance of those showers and storms will continue through the evening hours. We'll continue to see showers and storms up along the cold front into the northeast as we go through time. A little segment maybe moving through Alabama and Mississippi later on as well Friday. And so Friday into Saturday night, look at this over the night hours on Friday night, seeing more showers and storms through Oklahoma, Arkansas, up into West Virginia and up into the northeast. So really look for these these thunderstorms to organize, and organized complexes to move through with these mesoscale convective systems that help to enhance the wind threat through the yellow areas that we saw before on the assessment. And that'll continue through Saturday afternoon. Could see both segments move through Alabama and Georgia, scattered showers and thunderstorms through the Carolinas, into the Ohio Valley as well, in the Northeast too. One more round as we get on into Sunday afternoon. Will show up a little bit better of a chance of severe weather here along the east, and we'll see if that expands down into the southeast too. But another system working in through Texas could bring a little bit more severe weather back out there. And here comes that big trough into the northeast. So that's what our severe weather threat looks like, with all of those repeated rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Heavy rain is forecast from middle Texas up into Oklahoma, West Texas as well. Where anywhere you see this purple is an inch basically an inch and a half or more. So a large area of the southern plains into the Tennessee Valley and southeast is going to see multiple inches of rain over the next few days. The biggest places, the biggest totals look to be in Oklahoma and Texas, in these areas where we have flood watches in Oklahoma already up, and then into the essentially through Dixie Alley and along the coast where that little low pressure is spinning out here, bringing shower and thunderstorm activity along the coastal plain of the Carolinas here. So that's what's going on the rain side of things. Air quality alerts abound across much of the central portion of the country. West Virginia, up here in New York City and southern New England, here in the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, Michigan, and areas surrounding that, and then of course in Nebraska, a lot of Canadian wildfire smoke coming in. So if you're sensitive to that, stay indoors. Hopefully we'll get a bit of a break as that trough comes in. Maybe the winds will shift out a little bit and blow some of that out. Flood watch is up here in northern Oklahoma for tomorrow, and then a severe thunderstorm watch already up for this afternoon. So that's what's going on there. Temperatures over the weekend, we're looking at the cold front slipping south, bringing 70s and even some 60s back into the northern tier of the country through much of the nation's midsection. Return flow out here bringing 90s into the west all the way up into Spokane. And as we get into the San Joaquin Valley, the desert southwest, and the border counties down here, looking for temperatures close to 100. But over the southeast, we're looking at temperatures up the eastern seaboard to Boston. We're all looking at temperatures in the 80s as we go out in time for Friday. Saturday, much the same story. A little bit cooler in New England as that trough works in up there, starting to see a little heat rebound in the plains, and then big time rebound out here in the western states. And again, starting to warm up, really get into the hundreds along the border counties, but 80s and 90s along through the southeast. And then as we get into Sunday, a little bit more in the way of heat, kind of returning back northward. So you can see that push back up into the southern plains. Still cool though. That trough comes in. It's going to bring some really cool air up to the northern tier of the country. And so 70s and 80s, where it's not raining, it's going to be pleasant. It's not going to be raining most of the northern half of the country through the weekend and out west either. So you should have a nice weekend to take a look at, or to enjoy rather. And as we get out in time, looking here at Monday, big trough coming in, that upper level low working into the Great Lakes. Cooler temperatures going to be under those blues. It'll kind of diffuse out over time into a trough, and the cooler temperatures will do so as well. So we'll start to warm up and warm out west for sure. And as we get on out in time, look at that ridge sort of start to take over. We're getting ridging through the middle of the country. Upper air ridging kind of puts a lid on thunderstorm development. That said, we've got little systems working in through the flow. We'll see another trough pushing into the west, kind of a general troughing here in the northeast. So probably, if I'm going to guess, I'm looking for near normal to below normal temperatures along the eastern seaboard and then along the west coast as well, particularly up into the northwest, but warmer than normal temperatures in the center of the country, and probably going to see a little bit more in the way of precipitation as some of the little spokes of energy work in through here. So could see some potential showers and thunderstorms returning out to the Rocky Mountains and places like that as we go on out in time. We're getting out here into the middle of June. This is about day 10. It's probably as far out as we want to go, but you can see kind of the ridge holds on a little bit. So center of the country is going to warm up. There's no question about that. Where will the precipitation set up? Well, that's TBD, and we'll take a look at that as we kind of get to it. But there's your anomalies coming in. Temperatures cooler over the plains. Watch what happens. Big anomalies out west for warm temperatures, probably 10 or 20 degrees above normal out there, 10, 15 degrees below normal in the center of the country. Nation's midsection starts to warm up a little bit as we get on in toward day 8, 9, into day 10. This puts us out here toward June the 13th, 14th, and we're seeing warmth return to much of the nation as we get on out here to the 15th, 16th, and beyond. So, as I said before, kind of a signal for cooler than normal up along the northeast and maybe near normal to slightly above down toward Florida, and then back into the west. We're going to see temperatures kind of cool off there as the center of the country heats up. And folks, that's about it for the show today. We're going to wrap up here with the solar update. So look at this. Our K index, if I can click on it, it's not letting me click on it for some reason or another, but you can see it down here, really looking at coming out of that geostorm. So we're not seeing any sort of major storm activity for our magnetic field, which means not really much in the way of aurora. Not seeing anything here on the coronagraph. Little system blows off, I think, in one direction here soon, but it's not going to really matter to us all that much. It's going away from Earth. Coronal hole turning away. Sunspot activity about to round the limb, so we'll watch that as it comes on in. This one here, you see this bright spot, that's a sunspot. It's got some complex magnetism, so we'll see if it shoots off anything too. Aurora, not a lot going on there. Really kind of a weak chance of aurora, so I wouldn't really get my hopes up on any of that. Volcanic activity still in the same 4 areas we've been watching, and Etna, I think, is still going off a little bit as well. Not much in the earthquake front either, folks. And that really is it for the show. I've been out of town visiting parents up in Stewart, Virginia. I did a couple of little shorts from up there. I'll have my son with me this weekend. Tomorrow it'll be hard to get a long video out, but certainly may be able to do that one day this weekend. But I'll have my son with me. He likes to do some of these shorts, so we'll do a couple little shorts and stuff like that. So anyway, that's it for the day, folks. Thank you for joining me. And if you get a chance, subscribe to the channel. If you like the content, give us a thumbs up, and all of that will help YouTube to kind of push this out. It goes a long way to do that. Have any questions, let me know. Put it in the comments. I pray for all of you every day. Certainly pray for me. I need it. And if there's anything specific I can pray about, let me know. Take care, folks. Have a great day.